get frustrated that a cookie just can't be a freaking cookie, that a slice of pizza isn't just pizza, but a downward spiral into feeling like nothing will ever change? If so, join me for my virtual A Cookie Isn't Just a Cookie workshop on Saturday, March 18th. This is the first step in my Truce with Food process so that you can discover the story that keeps you stuck in battling food. You can sign up at alishapiro.com or alishapiro.com/A Cookie Isn't Just a Cookie.
You can incorporate a lot of little things that make a big difference versus spending $100, every other day on like 6 juices.
Yeah, and then spending like $50 binging before you start, which is what I would do.
Because you got to gear up for it because you're like, okay, I'm not going to eat for like 3 to 5 days.
A lot of times people get spring allergies because they're overly congested from the winter, because in Chinese medicine, how you set yourself up at one season comes out the next season.
You know battling food and your body doesn't work. You want to love and accept yourself. And because you're insatiable, you want results too. And wouldn't you know, you bring the same intensity to your life, wanting to maximize your time, potential, and experiences you have here on this beautiful and wondrous planet Earth. Fair warning, it will be a roller coaster, but for those insatiable, that's your prime time to thrive. We're here to say yes to the hunger of wanting it all. I'm your co-host, Ali Shapiro, a health coach who helps people end the losing battle of dieting and find a truce with food.
And I'm Juliette Berg, nutritionist, fitness expert, and the co-owner of Unite Fitness Studio franchise. Welcome to episode 71, Healthy and Gentle Detoxing for Spring. If you haven't already, you're going to be bombarded by cleanses, powders, pills, and juices galore. Spring is in the air and people want to shed the winter weight. But do those detoxes actually even work? Ali and I find that they set you up for failure and can make you even feel worse, both physically and emotionally. We want to share ways that you can shed that winter stagnation that is both gentle and super effective.
Hey, insatiable listeners, it's Ali and Juliette, and we're actually together.
This is so weird, everybody. We're sitting next to each other. This has never happened in the history of us podcasting. Oh, wait, one time in a hotel room.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
She's sitting in my kitchen right now.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful day out. We're here in Philly, getting ready for our Insatiable retreat on Saturday. And today we're going to talk a little bit about detoxing naturally, because it's that time of year.
It is. Spring is upon us.
I know.
Although I feel like spring has been here a little early every other day in this winter. It's been really bizarre.
I know. I'm back in Pittsburgh, and I grew up, and the winters were awful. Like, I remember certain Halloweens. Of course, I remember trick-or-treating and like being terrified that we wouldn't be able to get candy.
Oh yeah. I always was so upset because I'd always have these little outfits on that couldn't go with a jacket.
Yeah.
I was so upset if I had to put like tights or a jacket on over my Halloween costume. God forbid.
I remember there were times there would be like a threat of canceling Halloween, and the winter lasted like from October until like May, sometimes April. And the past 2 winters we've been there. Last year, January was like all 60 degrees, and now there's been some snow, but it's frighteningly warm. I mean, I'm enjoying it, but
I know, because it is my favorite weather is like 60 to 70 degrees dry.
Yeah, me too.
That's what I run on that weather very well.
I know. I get so cranky, and like the heat. Like, yeah. I'm pitta already, which for those of you listening in Ayurvedic, that's the very fiery, like type A, can work till you drop, more muscular. It's like, yeah, you're intense.
Yeah. And I think in the episode Eat for Your Body Type, we talk a lot about that, the different types.
And exercise for your body type.
Yep.
Which is super
metabolic
popular.
Typing.
Yeah. So Juliette and I want to talk a little bit today about detoxing for spring, because you're going to be bombarded with a ton of things to do now. And people know that shorter sleeves are coming. And I know that can induce a lot of panic. And yet, I don't know about you, Juliette, but I've had clients who have done cleanses, and it did something to their GI tract. Like, we don't know what it did, but they came to me after doing those.
Yes, I have had that too, particularly with juice cleanses.
Yes.
Where I'm not sure if they are getting bad fruits and vegetables in their cleanses, and then it's affecting them, or they're getting a bunch of bad bugs in their gut. but I've had that too, where people have come to me and said my digestion was never the same since, and it was bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. We should like chronicle
Because,
this.
well, it's easy to get pathogens in a lot of those juice cleanses. Now, some of them are high pressure pasteurized, but then you're not getting as much nutrients. So it's a challenge. But I would say that I think the point of this episode is Allie and I want to talk about gentle detoxification, not needing to go to these really harsh cleanses or like torturing yourself. And you can incorporate a lot of little things that make a big difference versus spending $100, every other day on like 6 juices.
Yeah. And then spending like $50 binging before you start, which is what I would do.
You got to gear up for it. Cause you're like, okay, I'm not going to eat for like 3 to 5 days.
I know. And it too, just from a medical health perspective, like medical perspective is if you're overly toxic and like you need, how you come on and off a cleanse or a detox is actually probably more important than the detox itself. And so if you're really like, you haven't been treating yourself well and you've been overeating and lots of dairy and gluten and sugar and you live around air pollution, all those things, and you try to do something like this, if your body doesn't have the reserves to support you, you can really trigger a lot of issues.
You can feel really sick too.
Yeah.
Like you can have almost like a flu-like symptoms be induced from doing something like that.
Yeah. So we don't want you to do that. However, as Juliet and I were talking before we turned on the recording is, in Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, the Eastern philosophies, they're very much about seasonal eating and staying in harmony with your environment. So matching, in the summer, we eat more raw foods and people crave frozen yogurt because it's hotter. So the springtime is really in Chinese medicine, it's considered, I think, is it metal? I forget the exact element, but it is a time for detoxing, not detoxing American style, but the wintertime you eat more congesting foods. It's a colder season, so you're eating warming foods, which tend to be congesting. So the spring, a lot of times people get spring allergies because they're overly congested from the winter, because in Chinese medicine, how you set yourself up at one season comes out the next season. And so what Chinese medicine is all about is supporting your liver, like the detoxing, although research shows that your gut is very important in detoxing as well. But the spring season is all about supporting that liver, spleen, meridian / system.
But your body is meant to detox on its own.
Yes.
Let's not forget that. Not everything you're putting in your body, it's storing in it. Your body has a natural detoxification system where if something's going in there that's not right, it can kind of push it out. It depends on kind of your starting point though.
Yeah. Deep breathing is detoxing, sweating, detoxing, going to the bathroom, poop and pee is detoxing.
Yeah.
So you're already detoxing as it is. It's not like all of this stuff is just like backing itself up.
Yeah.
But it is a great time in the spring to lighten up some of those more congesting foods, especially if you struggle with allergies, adding more gut supporting foods like probiotics, prebiotics, and cutting back on dairy and those congesting foods while adding in lots of leafy greens can be a great way to just feel better, feel lighter, and flush out some of that winter
glow. Who do you think is a good candidate to do a detox? How would you know if it's right for you to start to detox in the spring? Should everybody do it? Or is there kind of certain symptoms that you would feel to say, I think I need to just like do a little bit of a detox?
Yeah. Well, I think the way that we're talking about it, it's healthy for everyone, especially if you can make it like a ritual. Because what I've always encouraged my clients to do is not just like what you're taking out, but how can you support yourself in a way that you would want to be supporting yourself going forward? So getting more sleep, spending more time outside, adding in those fun things during that time period so that you're really just lightening up for the summer and fall. But again, this is a gradual, everything in Chinese and Ayurvedic medicine is about patterns and overall. So a gradual detox, not what we think of as the American style, but I think everyone could really benefit, especially if you are someone who struggles with spring allergies or you feel really congested or sluggish. I think if you just feel off, it's a great thing to do.
Yeah. And I think if you are someone who's starting to eat seasonally, then you're going to be doing this more. It's going to be happening naturally anyways, because in the springtime, nature provides us a lot of detoxing foods. All of a sudden you can get those leafy greens again, like the dandelion greens are on the shelf.
You're hardcore. Dandelion greens are intense.
I love dandelion greens.
Oh my God, that's why your skin looks so good.
I chop them up and I put them in with romaine lettuce, which is a very sweet, watery lettuce. So it's like a combination when I have a salad where it's dandelion and romaine. So it's nice. The combo's good with a little avocado, lemon juice. That's really good.
See, now that's something that is like a great side salad that you might not have been eating in the winter because it was cold out, and now to add in. So I think actually let's maybe go through like breakfast, lunch, and dinner and just kind of some ideas for people. And again, I think another thing that I tell my clients is like, if something feels like frightening or like overwhelming, that's a clue not to do it. Like whenever we're trying to work on food allergies, I'm like, does eliminating this sound too like,
For sure. I've always been more of one to approach in what can you add in that is I think food is very exciting. And it's funny, my brother is in town visiting and he's just now on this clean eating kick for the first time in his life. And he said to me today, this is a really fun and interesting hobby. I'm like, you mean lifestyle? And he goes, no, it's kind of a hobby. And I like that he said that because I remember back when I first started changing my diet a lot, and I would go to the grocery store and it was kind of a hobby to look at the foods that I'd never once before put in my cart. Like, what is a dandelion green? How do you eat this? And Google it and be like, oh, you can eat it raw. Oh, you can cook it. You know what? I'll give it a try. And oh, look at all the benefits of it. It's, liver detoxing. Something like that really excited me. So I think if you can look at food in that way, it helps a lot. And what can you add in versus what are you going to just cut out completely?
I love that. Yeah, totally. Yeah, because you're right. I'm thinking back to when I changed my diet. There were so many things I hadn't heard of. Like I kept calling quinoa.
Or acai, acai.
Yeah, I still can't pronounce that.
I can't really either.
Yeah, so I think that's really...
Yeah,
I miss Philly and all the sirens.
Yeah, you know what? I tune out the sirens. I don't even hear them. It's so bad.
PTSD.
No, really. Unless it's like that sound, I don't even notice it.
Oh, that's so funny. I remember, I was going to go down memory lane when the year that the Phillies won the World Series and there were like helicopters. And then
that was the first year I moved to Philly.
Yeah. And I lived 2 blocks from Broad Street. And first Barack Obama won the election and everyone poured out on Broad Street and was dancing. And then the Phillies won the World Series like the next week. And then everyone was out there. First people came out when they won like the National League title. And then when they won the World Series, and it was just like parties and helicopters. Like every night we were like, what's happening?
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was an awesome time to live 2 blocks from Broad Street. I'm getting nostalgic, listeners, being back in Philly. I love it here. So, okay, that was totally non sequitur. We went.
So breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So what is something that you can add into breakfast that's detoxifying?
Yeah. Well, I think one thing that I have to get back in the habit. When I started trialing, I stopped it, but even getting a dry brush or a dry washcloth and cleaning out your lymph. So the type of cancer I had is Hodgkin's disease, and it's like the lymph is my Achilles heel. That's why I got a mini trampoline for my birthday. That's really good for lymph. But I also have a dry brush, and just drying that helps with your lymph. And your lymph is one of your main detoxification systems. So I think doing that in the morning or the evening is really helpful. So then breakfast.
Wait, now all over your body or only on the points where your lymphs,
I do like arms and legs and armpits.
Armpits are really important, and all that
and groin area.
Crap deodorant you put on is clogging that.
That's a great point. I also think cleaning up your cosmetics, and you don't have to spend a fortune, but looking at your deodorants and your makeups, this is a great
the things that you put on all the time.
Yes.
I'm someone who doesn't wear makeup very often. I probably wear makeup 1 or 2 times a week. And so I do have some products that are not completely natural, but I'm only using them so infrequently that that's okay. But the things like deodorant, for example, I'm really mindful about that because as a fitness professional, how many times a day do you think I want to put on deodorant? A lot. A lot more than the average person. So I have to find alternatives or else I'd be really just like clogging my pores with, toxic ingredients.
Yeah. What brand do you like?
I don't know if I'm saying it right, but I got Pie.
They're based in Philly, aren't they?
Yeah, they were on Shark Tank, actually.
No way!
And that's how they got noticed. But yeah, it works really well.
Okay, so Peiwei. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I use Una Biologicals, which is a Pittsburgh-based herbal company, and their deodorants are great. Because I was like, I'm hippie, but not that hippie.
Well, I have another thing that I do that I don't know if anyone else out there does it, but I wash my armpits throughout the day.
Oh.
With like natural soap.
Yeah.
I just give myself a little shower up top.
That's if you're a fitness professional. The rest of us, we could just stink a little bit more. But I start every morning with lemon water. And I think that's really great. That's a gentle way to wake up your liver. And then I think adding in some like leafy greens to your breakfast, whether it's a green smoothie. I've dropped mine in the winter, but I'll probably start adding that back in. Celery. And ideally on a green smoothie, you have a 3-to-1 ratio of vegetables to fruit.
Yeah.
But I think that's a great, and some healthy fats in there. And actually on my website, if you go to alishapiro.com and Google green smoothie, I have like a couple different recipes and ideas. But yeah, that's what I would recommend adding in for breakfast.
What about chia seeds? Because aren't they kind of pulling things out as far as, you know, when they expand in your stomach? I've heard that they help to kind of like pull out toxins from your gut.
Huh.
Have you heard that before with chia?
I haven't. Carlos bought a massive bag from Costco. And
Carlos has an obsession with buying things from Costco.
Oh my God. The best thing was it was his birthday last week. We went to my mom's or my parents. They cooked him dinner. And my mom bought a squatty potty at Costco, but she got 2. You could only buy 2.
Wait, is it like white though?
No, I think it's beige.
Beige. Okay. Because I saw one the other day and it was just plastic and white. And I'm like, this is hideous. Can we make like a wood one or something that's a little bit more decorative for my bathroom? I'm like, it just looked really like
a yuppie squatty potty.
Yeah, can I have a yuppie squatty potty, please?
Well, we have a squatty potty now because my mom's like, we got 2 at Costco. It's like, of course they're selling 2 squatty potties.
That's awesome.
They were on Shark Tank too.
Yes, they were.
Oh my God. So that's what happens. Get on Shark Tank with your ideas. So what was
chia
seeds. So, I mean, half the bag is still in there. I forget when he got them. They make my stomach uncomfortable. A lot
of people experience that. So yeah, play with that. But I have heard that it helps to kind of pull things out of your gut because it's like the way it expands.
Yeah, and it's fiber.
Like, it's jelly-like. So it kind of things stick to it and it comes out when you poop.
Oh my God.
So
yeah, experiment with that. Some people do fine. I can't even do like sparkling water. Like everyone likes La Croix. Like I tried it once and I'm like, this is good. And then I was in pain for like, not as bad as
carbonation affects your stomach.
Yeah. Like for 2 hours, I just felt like uncomfortably full. And then I was hungry because I got so full, I couldn't finish eating. And then I was like, I'm hungry, but I was too full. It was uncomfortable, but I guess I just have a sensitive stomach. So then at lunchtime, again, adding in vegetables, I think, and healthy fats really help keep your blood sugar balanced, which we always talk about this, but they also help, you know, you aren't what you eat, you are what you absorb, and healthy fats really help calcium and magnesium, everything goes to the right places.
There's a reason why vitamins are called fat soluble, and that is that they can only be absorbed if you have fat with it. So to better absorb vitamins, it's always good. And Allie and I are big proponents of having fat in every meal. So coconut oil, avocado, tahini, there's so many different nut butters. There's so many different amazing fats.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to live without that.
I know. Even on the train, I knew like I hard boiled eggs and I packed some macadamia nuts because I was like, I'm not going to be able to eat until 3:00. So, and it totally worked, which was great. So, and then I think this is the key though, have a bigger lunch. And then I think a great way to detox is really work on lightening up your dinner. Try that. I know a lot of people, it's kind of like, they look forward to the end of the day. Dinner is the reward. But I think a great way to detox is try to have a bigger lunch, a bigger breakfast, and lighten up your dinner so that it is just like some clean proteins. And
I'll give you a tip if you're somebody who has a hard time with that, with lightening up your dinner, because visually it looks, you're like, this doesn't look like a lot of food, and it gives you a little bit of that scarcity mentality, which is totally fine. Have a lot of vegetables. Like make a huge salad. But it's not heavy on the system, like having a lot of greens. And then, for example, last night I had a dinner that was a light dinner, but it felt like I ate a lot of food, which was a piece of salmon. And I had a big salad with steamed mushrooms and asparagus.
Ooh,
but it wasn't heavy at all. But I ate a lot.
Portobello mushrooms are great detoxing foods because like you can eat them for dinner almost like a steak, but they're vegetables.
I love mushrooms. Mushrooms are so good for you.
Me too. I know. Carlos doesn't like them. And so I feel like I don't make them at home as much, which is a bummer, but I get them when we're out and when he's gone. So I think lightening up your dinner and noticing, again, experiment and see how much better you sleep, because then you'll set up this wonderful, exponential effect of sleeping really well. And then also I think a big thing now, we hear about these communities like Flint, Michigan, or, I follow Erin Brockovich on Facebook, these random communities that have really bad water. And we think, oh my God, and it's awful. I don't think Flint still has clean water. However, your own municipal supply probably isn't as healthy as you think. People think if they live in a good neighborhood, like where my parents live and where we live, but I wouldn't drink any of the water. Like my parents have a filter, we have a filter. So I think trying to focus on filtering your water too is really important. I use Berkey. It was an investment. I think it was like $250, but we'll use that
in the grand scheme of things, though. That's not a lot over the years.
Not at all, because I used to work in water treatment and Brita isn't enough. I mean, so I think that would be a great move for people, especially because, again, like you say, you use deodorant all the time. If you're drinking a lot of water, that's really important. But definitely pick up your water intake. Ideally, half your body weight in ounces. Mm-hmm. So like if you weigh 140 pounds, 70 ounces. But then if you drink caffeine, an extra 8 ounces.
And if you work out, an extra 16 ounces per hour of extra hardcore exercise.
Yeah. And then I think also trying to think how you can lighten up emotionally is also a big thing. Winter tends to be...
What? That's detoxing? Cut out everyone in your life that annoys you and you'll be detoxed.
Yeah. Join Truce with Food and you'll get a definite detox. Which, that reminds me. Registration opens March 27th. I'm only running it once a year and the price is going up in 2018. So definitely if you'd consider it, check it out at alliespear.com, or you can send me an email. We can set up a time to see if it's the right fit for you. But yeah, emotionally detoxing. I think I don't work with clients anymore on detoxing specifically, but I would tell them again, what would you want to add in that you've been putting off doing? Just try taking care of yourself in that way for like a week so that you can replenish yourself. And I think that is equally as important. I think a lot of people I know have had kind of crazy years, crazy winters. And
yeah, this year does feel like that. It feels like everybody has taken on too much this year.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I'm getting.
And do you feel like, I feel like when I talk to people, like really unexpected things happened. Like just like relationships like blew up or like.
Yeah, a lot of different career changes or relationships or death. I've had, a lot of my friends have lost family members.
Same here.
Yeah, this is strange. This year feels more intense than others.
Yeah. So if that's you, I mean, I feel like life today is just very intense. Like take some time and just like integrate. I think that's a good concept of like kind of what just happened and stillness, I think.
Yeah. One of my coworkers today, she said, do you ever have any time for yourself? And it was a really great question to have somebody ask me because they're like, it doesn't look like you do. It looks like you're always like you going. And it's really impressive. I'm like, yeah, it is. I guess I'm not really proud of that. That's not something that I would say I'm really proud of because I do need to take time to slow down and incorporate hours in my day, not just like 30 minutes here and there where I have a little break and then, there's always that email to look at, or there's always that phone call to make. It is really important to place in relaxation time in your life and schedule it in.
Yeah. And also think about making your existing interactions more relaxing. Like, I think, that's the heart of Truce with Food is how do you bring the real you to a situation so it feels replenishing versus like all the shoulds, have to, must, I better say this, I should over prepare, I have to go to this, like try to cleanse from what Dr. Albert Ellis, he was a psychologist, he called masturbation. I must, I have to, I should. Try detoxing from that for a week and just giving yourself some space. I know I took the train up here. For those of you who know me well know I hate driving. One of my contributions to the world is staying off the road. I'm not a good driver. And so I took the train today and I just felt, I've been traveling a lot. I was on the West Coast. We're doing a retreat. I'm going up to New York. And then I have my cousin's bachelorette party in New Orleans at the end of the month. And I just like relaxed and I listened to my music. I didn't listen to podcasts. I mean, I love podcasts, but it's just like, and I looked out the window and it was funny. We passed, Pennsylvania's huge, and we passed State College, which is where I went to undergrad at Penn State. And I was listening to the Indigo Girls and I loved them in college. And I was like, I got all nostalgic. I think that's why I'm feeling so nostalgic. But I was like, oh, Allie in her 20s. Like, you know what I mean? But I feel so much more rejuvenated, not because, granted, not everyone can take a whole train ride, but like just being rather than thinking, like you said.
Rather than thinking ahead into the future all the time. What's ahead? What do we have to do? What do we have to get done? What's happening tomorrow? What's happening tonight?
Yeah.
I find more people that I know live in the future, not even as much in the past, but it's more in the future all the time.
America's a very future oriented country. I mean, markets, all that stuff is capitalism is based on future. So yeah, we're a very future oriented.
I think there's a fine balance that you can get to with that. But I think, to summarize, detoxing isn't just about food and what foods you're eating or not eating, but it's about the shedding of kind of what's not serving you.
I love that. I used to call it
letting go of something.
Yeah. I used to call it like untoxing, like you're just trying to remove what's heavy.
Yeah. I think that maybe we could crown that or like with a different name, because I think people do look at detoxing as like those powders and the pills. Every time springtime rolls around and you walk into a Whole Foods, there's usually bins of detox tea and detox protocol and pills.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And what do you think about all of that? And usually they're like distilled like dandelion greens and all these different herbs.
Yeah. I mean, when I was really struggling with food, I tried all that stuff.
You did?
Yeah. Oh my God. I did. Oh yeah. Charcoal. I mean, I know that was the trend last year, but I'm like, oh, please. I tried that 10 years before it was a trend.
You were doing it for weight loss, correct?
Yeah. Well,
you were equating detoxing to I can lose a few pounds.
Well, and also there's this idea, we even have clean eating right now. There's this idea that you're quote dirty and that you need to detox, like you need to cleanse from being quote imperfect, right? I mean, that's an emotional metaphor, but also physical. And I think I always felt like so bad about what I was eating, like that was going to just wipe me clean.
Then you would feel better about yourself. You'd have this kind of fleeting moment of like, I'm okay.
Yes.
I'm good.
Yes.
And then it would just come right back.
Yes. But isn't it crazy? Like now I look back and I'm like, I can't believe I really thought though that was going to work. Like I tried it so many times and I really thought like this time it'll be it. And I just didn't know that it was the thing. Not
I remember doing a juice cleanse and just feeling so fucking tortured the whole time. Because first of all, I have very sensitive blood sugar. I err more on that hypoglycemic side. And so the juicing just made that so 10 times worse. And I physically kind of felt like I was dying while I was on it because I was getting so dizzy and lightheaded and couldn't focus and I couldn't work. And I felt like a fucking failure because I paid all this money for this quote unquote like thing that was going to cleanse me and like make me feel better. And other people, I was doing it with other people. We're doing it like a group thing at work. And the other staff were feeling great on it. They were like, I have so much more energy. I'm not hungry. It feels good. Like they were getting the result that the juice cleanse promises. Meanwhile, I'm in the bathroom shaking and I'm like, what do I do? Do I just listen to my body and go eat a piece of chicken, or do I stick this out and stay on it? And I ended up not staying on it. I was supposed to do 5 days and I made it to 3 and I was like, no, I couldn't.
But did you feel better as soon as you got off?
As soon as I ate, I felt so much better. It's like chicken, avocado, fat and protein. My body just wasn't running well on liquid carbs.
Yeah. And you now know.
And it doesn't mean you're a failure. It doesn't mean, because someone might say, well, you didn't give it enough time. You didn't heal your blood sugar. That is
that's true.
Definitely what somebody would say.
That's true.
Yeah. I needed to get through the hump,
Yeah. I remember trying the master cleanse like around the time. Do you remember Beyonce did it when she was doing Dreamgirls?
Yes. She did it for like 20 something days and everyone was like, oh my God.
I know. And they're like, oh my God. And I remember feeling like a failure because I could only get to, I don't know if I forget the year, but I had either tried it before and then like she did it, or it was around the same time. But I could only get to 3 days because I was like still healing my blood sugar too. And I was like, oh my God, Beyonce looks amazing. And like
Beyonce probably also had medical doctors following her around, making sure that, everything was going well with it.
And she had like multi-million-dollar contract to do the movie.
Probably laying out on a tropical beach somewhere during those 21 days so that she could just relax.
Her cortisol and adrenaline was not through the roof.
Yeah.
But I think you bring up a good point, Juliet. And for people listening is like, if you do better on like a paleo-like diet, then, a detox for you might be like, get off the agave brownies. Yeah. Like I think going sugar-free, again, if it feels not overwhelming and like you're going to be restricted, but more like, curious, like, I would like to see what that happens. And maybe even give yourself 3, like if you would normally say, the extreme, you would do 10 days, try 3, you know?
How about one?
One, yeah.
Some people, I have clients that are terrified to even just take one day without having their dark chocolate or their sugar. Or I have a friend right now who is no nut butter. She's doing a no nut butter because for her, it was a food that was triggering. And she was just like, I was overeating peanut butter every day of my life. And I really wanted to see, can I challenge myself a little bit? Can I be okay without it?
How did you do?
She's doing it right now. I think she's only actually, I think, a couple days in, but
wow.
So
good for her. Yeah. If it feels like that, like, you know what, this has become a crutch. That may be a crutch.
That's a great word to use.
Yeah. Then it might be great to try to give that up. But replace, if you're going to cut out a food, again, like sugar is, I always say, a solution, not the problem. So a lot of people turn to sugar when they want a reward. So factor in an emotional reward that day. You know, swap out something healthier if you're going to be cutting out like foods, or, you know, if you're going to try going dairy free because you want to help your allergies, or you just feel like, find some great dairy free alternatives.
There's a lot of coconut yogurts out there, almond, that are low sugar if you get the plain version.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I can like in kite almond yogurt.
I've never tried that, but I've seen it.
Yeah, sure. It's really good. I got that for the workshops when I hosted in San Francisco, and I loved it. And just put some like paleo granola in it. It was really good. So find healthier substitutes. Like Juliet said, think of adding in before you take away. And I think also clearing your schedule just so that you can like have space to look forward to, because you do, if you're cutting out sugar or caffeine, or you're going to get tired especially like I get tired on like day 3. Like if I'm going off coffee, it's day 3, or when I used to, now I've been off sugar for, I guess, like a couple months, but I know day 3 would always hit me the hardest. So know yourself so you can set yourself up for success. And again, to Juliet's point, like maybe one day feels really curious for you and maybe 3 days does, but the minute it starts to feel like, no, I'm not going there, like that's a good, like listen to that and trust that. But this is more about lightening up and just kind of, I think of like getting the mucus out from winter time.
Yeah. Re-energizing yourself.
We should call it a re-energizing tox.
Yes. Yeah. Because in the wintertime, everything is a little slowed down and inward, and you don't want to really go out. And then spring happens and the birds are chirping and the leaves are growing and the flowers are blooming. And it's also what's happening with us too. We're starting to have a rebirth ourselves, and it's a time that we can go out there and re-energize and feel better.
Yes. But taking yourself to extreme and stressing yourself out is not re-energizing. So ask yourself, would this feel re-energizing? So I think that's good. Is there any like extra spring foods that you like? I mean, asparagus is coming into season. I think if you really want to like eat seasonally, just go to your farmer's market or your food stand.
Yes, see what's there.
Yeah.
That's what's growing right now.
And then just add lots of ghee or butter on it.
You love ghee, yeah.
You do. So I think that's about it. Do you want to wrap it up with?
I think that's it.
Okay. Yeah. And I'll just plug Truce with Food again. If you're considering really wanting to emotionally lighten up and get rid of the story that's weighing you down and keeping your eating crazy, registration opens March 27th and runs through April 3rd. And it's the only time this year that I'm running it, and price is going up in 2018. So check out alishapiro.com/Truce with Food.
Thank you so much for listening to the Insatiable podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. You can connect with us on social media. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Juliet Unite, and Allie at Allie M. Shapiro. M stands for Marie. Please feel free to also email us any questions. We would love to hear from all our listeners. You can reach us at Allie at allieshapiro.com and Juliet at unitefitness.com. We'll see you next time.